It serves you better if you start to look at the different parts of yourself that create the woman that you are, instead of just looking at one aspect and trying to perfect it for other people. When we're speaking on the divine feminine, I think it's very important that we stop saying that being divine feminine or being a divine feminine means being a nurturer, period. Yes, there are women, there are divine feminine beings that are solely here to nurture. But I do think it is very limiting to think of femininity and equate that to being a nurturer. And there's multiple reasons. One, some women are not only here to nurture. There's other aspects of them as well. Two, men can also be nurturers, right? So when we take away the wholeness of what nurturing is, and we just say only one specific type of people are like this, I think it's very damaging. I think it also limits the mindset of what women can develop to become. And I'm speaking solely spiritually, energetically. I'm not talking about biology, okay? Let's keep that very clear. Because feminine energy is so diverse and dynamic, and there's depths and there's layers, there is no one answer for all. So I'm not saying we're not just nurturers, period. There are some women who are the exception, who are just nurturers, but you also have women who are not necessarily nurturing, and they have different layers of how they achieve and exude the energy of femininity. A perfect example is the dark feminine. Dark feminine exists. It is an energy that is still alive to this day. And it is an ancient form of femininity, and it exists through people to this day. And a lot of the aspects of how femininity is expressed through the dark feminine deals a lot with healing, disrupting comfortability, being ambitious, being inquisitive, being alluring, being sexy, right? All of these things, for this example, deal with the dark feminine aspect of being a female entity. However, none of those qualities that I just mentioned necessarily deal with being a nurturer, right? So I think when we think of women, we have to think of a star, right? So there's 5 points, there's 5 layers, there's 5 steps to the totality of a woman's life. And so you do have women who are naturally, they exude nurturing qualities, but you also have women who they grow and evolve in stages, and they may not necessarily always exude nurturing energy, but it doesn't mean that they're any less feminine than someone who is a little bit more nurturing, or nurturing is natural to them. Do you know what I mean? I think it's levels to personality, and I think it's levels to the dimensions that the soul is able to tap into. There's a time and a place for people to be who they are. I feel like everyone was born, and they come here for a reason, and they're born on a certain day, and all of that for a reason. And I don't think that there's just one way to be a woman or to be a man. I think there's so many different experiences that exist energetically, and I think it's very irresponsible to limit energy, period. I think it's irresponsible to limit energy, careless even to try to box energy in, especially when we're talking about femininity, because feminine aspects deal with the inner world, the internal self, the emotional self. This is a very fluid energy. To try to confine it into one experience and one expression that's just not what femininity is. It's just not. And so I say this to say, for my women out there, you don't have to think that being a nurturer is the only way to experience who you are. You know that there are layers to you. You know that depending on who you're around will bring out certain energy. If you're around your children, you'll have different energy than if you're around your best friend. If you're around your best friend, it may be different than when you're around your partner. When you're out in the world with your partner, it will be very different from when you're in the bedroom with your partner. Do you see what I'm saying? And so I think it's very limiting for us to diminish the ever evolving, the ever expansive, the blossoming flower of what it means to be a woman, There's so many layers. Even if you just look at from adolescence to becoming a woman, there's so many layers, hopefully. If you're evolving properly, you'll see that it's kind of strange to just think that being a woman just means being soft or being nurturing, and that's it. I'm not saying that it's not a part of femininity. I'm saying that there's more to you than just that. It serves you better if you start to look at the different parts of yourself that create the woman that you are, instead of just looking at one aspect and trying to perfect it for other people. You're missing out on so many different parts of the pie. You're missing out on the whole image of who you are as a woman. And there's not just one type. There's so many different types of women, and we all have these different percentages of ways that we express our femininity. And it's not going to be accepted by everyone, but it doesn't mean that you're not supposed to be comfortable with it and acknowledge it and be aware of these energies. Because when you're not aware, that's when they start to leak out, so to speak, and they can cause havoc in your life, especially if you don't really know what energies you're dealing with. And back to the dark feminine, a lot of you who are battling with a lot of the other aspects of yourself that seem darker, they're not wrong. It's not wrong. You're not wrong for wanting to be more of who you are, and you feel like you're shutting off a piece of yourself because the world is telling you you're only supposed to be a nurturer. There's so many other ways to nurture than just being sensitive and soft. There's so many other ways. And you have to understand that you are here to be a nurturer, yes, but there's other aspects of you as well. And if you are truly a nurturer, how could you possibly say that if you're not nurturing all the elements of yourself, the totality of yourself? If you are here to help others grow, how can you do that if you're not even acknowledging the seeds that you have within you, right? So I just want you to start to pay attention to who you are and start to ask yourself, start to get comfortable with yourself, start to really become in touch with the real you and not just what the world is telling you that you are, right? Because there's so many layers to who you are as a human and your life and the experiences that you've had. And it just serves the world more when you actually walk as yourself and you are in tune with your energies and you start to learn and dive into different parts of your life, and you're not just confined to who they are telling you to be. And that's really for anyone, but especially for women, because I feel like we literally are trained to just be that, and there's so much more to us. And the reason why we suffer internally and we have these moments in life where it just feels like we're floating is because you're not really utilizing what God has already given you, the multiple aspects of yourself, not just one. All right, just keep growing, keep evolving, keep working on yourself, do the shadow work, get to the root of it, become a grown woman. You know what I mean? Like, it's important. It really is. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.